For more now from Kigali, we're joined by our correspondent Sarah Kamani, who's been tracking what's been happening at Kigali ahead of the summit for us. Sarah, very good afternoon to you. Well, let's start with this e-passport. Tell us a bit about it. What makes it different from the national ones, and what's the ultimate aim of the AU in launching the passport?
Good afternoon, Natasha, from Kigali, Rwanda, where African heads of states have started arriving for the African Union Heads of State Summit, which kicks off officially on Sunday and on Monday. Now, the African e-passport, as it is being called here, is different because it will enable African citizens to move across the 54 African countries freely, and it will also be different because it means that then one can either get a visa on arrival, or some countries like Rwanda, which have already waived the need for visas, they will just walk in and present their passports at immigration, get a stamp and get into the country and begin business. One of the reasons that the African Union is giving for issuing this passport is opening borders and ensuring free movement of persons and goods across the whole continent.
All right, and Sarah, how soon can citizens own the passports?
Well, citizens will start receiving the passport as soon as it is launched here. What will depend on countries is that some of them, like Rwanda, are saying as soon as the passport is launched, they will start printing it and they will start issuing their citizens as early as next month. Some countries are, however, going to take a little longer. Some of them have said that they fear that if they open their borders completely, then there are issues of security which they are concerned about. However, the African Union insisting that free borders are better for both the countries that open their borders and also for the continent.
All right, Sarah, what else are we expecting from this summit?
Well, we expect that there's going to be elections of the African Union chairperson and also a replacement of 6 commissioners who will be retiring this year. However, one of the things we are hearing now is that may not happen because there are complaints from ECOWAS, the West African Regional Grouping, that the people who have presented their names for candidacy do not fit the caliber of Dr. Nkosazana Zuma, who is retiring after only 1 term. So we expect to see whether that will still happen. We also expect them, the leaders here, to issue a statement on just how far countries have gone in terms of achieving Agenda 2063, which is a blueprint on development on the continent. We also have just had an announcement now that African countries are going to have a common African CDC, a Center for Disease Control, in the light of what happened in Liberia and Sierra Leone. So they want to have a place where they can appoint of call for research on diseases that affect the continent and to be able to control them even before they come into the continent. A lot of issues also will be discussed, including Burundi and South Sudan. We expect that the leaders here will have a meeting with the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to discuss whether to change the mandate of the peacekeeping troops in South Sudan and whether to also increase their mandate, which ends in July, to up until the end of August. Already we have had President Salva Kiir saying that the country does not need more foreign troops.
And Sarah, will there be continued discussions on whether or not the court's African members should withdraw from participation at The Hague?
Well, what we know for sure is that discussions on the ICC will continue. What we do not know for sure is whether they will be discussing whether now there should be a mass withdrawal by African countries from the Rome Statute, which creates the International Criminal Court. Interestingly, President Omar al-Bashir of Sudan, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court to face charges of crimes against humanity and genocide, is going to be in Rwanda. Rwanda saying that they're not signatories to the Rome Statute, and they're calling the demands by the ICC that he is arrested as a distraction.
All right, Sarah, thank you very much for that update. We'll leave it there for now. Our correspondent in Kigali, Sarah Kamani.